It takes a certain sort of character to be able to deal with speeds in excess of 200 miles per hour, while also throwing themselves around corners with their fiercest competitors right on their tails. All of this while trying to keep a multi-million-dollar car intact. Some would go as far as to say they might be a little crazy. Today we are talking about the crazy facts about Formula One drivers, so don't go anywhere. First up, it's a pretty great workout. Scientists have figured out that due to the intense strain on the body throughout the couple of hours drivers are in the hot seat, they lose somewhere around 4 kilograms. The temperatures in the cockpit can be insanely high, meaning the drivers sweat a lot. In the build-up to the race, you will often see them gulping down water. This is in preparation for what they know they are about to go through once the race gets underway. You certainly don't want to be passing out due to dehydration while driving 200 miles per hour. Cockpit temperatures can regularly climb to around 50 degrees Celsius, which means the racing suits, which are also fireproof and very thick, as well as gloves and helmet, will end the race thoroughly soaked in sweat. Sounds lovely, right? Next, they're a superstitious bunch. Stay tuned to hear all about this one. Most sports people, not just F1 drivers, are superstitious in one way or another, but F1 drivers have been known to take it a little further than the rest of their sporting peers. German legend Michael Schumacher was known to carry a toy hairbrush given to him by his daughter during every race. He viewed it as a good luck charm and also carried a cross with him, just for extra safety. And Schumacher's countryman Sebastian Vettel is known to carry 2 coins in his socks, which he believes brings him good luck. Vettel also names his car at the beginning of every season, believing that it creates a bond between himself and the car, which borders on slightly crazy in our book. Other drivers have been known to carry a ton of other superstitions with them, from avoiding black cats to getting into the car on the same side every time. Some drivers even believe that their underwear could be a deciding factor, with former driver Scottish star David Coulthard wearing the same pair throughout a portion of his career. Pretty nasty, Dave. What is your lucky charm? And now, the cockpit also doubles as a bathroom. Stick around. I mean, when you think about it, this one makes perfect sense, right? As we mentioned earlier, drivers go through a ton of water pre-race to make sure they're fully hydrated. And as we said, some of this water is lost through sweat, but a lot of it will also make its way through the body and exit through the more natural route. Unfortunately for Lewis Hamilton and co., they can't just pull over for a quick pee behind one of the course's signs. So what do? Well, they just go. Some drivers are known to wear nappies or diapers for our American friends. But others, like our mate Lewis, can simply hold it in, which must be absolutely excruciating. We're not surprised he drives so fast. He needs the lube. Of course, there's a bit more to it than that, but the interior of the cars are waterproof, so a lot of the teams simply encourage their drivers to just go for it. What do you guys make of this? Let us know below. Next up, F1 drivers can survive an impact of 100 miles per hour. As you probably know, it is generally accepted that if normal people crash a car at anything above 70 miles per hour, they will be heading for an early grave. But Formula One cars are safe and built with the driver's well-being in mind, that most agree that drivers could, in theory, survive an impact of around 100 miles per hour. Thanks to the insane speeds associated with F1, teams have to provide their drivers with one of the safest cars in the world. And as we know, there have been plenty of crashes over the decades that F1 has been in existence, but there haven't actually been that many deaths in comparison. Of course, one death is too many, but there is always going to be a risk involved, which is what makes the sport so appealing to its viewers. However, most crashes these days, and for a long time now, are non-fatal, which is all down to the safety aspects of the car. There are hundreds of safety regulations a car must pass before it is allowed onto the track, all with the driver's safety in mind, which is what we like to see. We're talking Lilla Lombardi now. Don't go anywhere. Younger fans of the sport have probably never heard of Lilla Lombardi, which is a crime, really. The trailblazing Italian became the first and only ever female driver to score a point in the sport, which actually happened back in 1975. What makes this even more impressive is the fact that this happened almost 50 years ago in a sport heavily dominated by men. She isn't the only female driver to take part in an F1 race, but she is the only one to ever score a point, which happened at the Spanish GP back in 1975. Lombardi raced F1 for 3 years in the mid-70s, turning out for teams such as March, Williams, and Ram F2, qualifying for 12 out of the 17 races she participated in. Lombardi passed in 1992 as a result of cancer. A true pioneer. R.I.P. Did you guys know about Lilla Lombardi? A grim tally next. Stay with us. As we know, nowadays F1 cars are the safest they have ever been, but that doesn't mean it has always been this way. The last driver to die as a result of Formula One was a French driver, Jules Bianchi, who passed due to injuries he sustained during a crash in Suzuka, Japan. Bianchi's was the first death since that of racing royalty Ayrton Senna at San Marino in 1994, which means that the sport went more than 20 years without a fatality. However, Bianchi and Senna are, of course, not the only ones. There are 50 other F1 drivers who have lost their lives as a result of accidents in the sport. The oldest was Chet Miller, who died at the age of 50 in 1953, and the youngest was Ricardo Rodriguez, who passed 9 years later at the age of just 20. As sad as these deaths undoubtedly have been, they have made it a much safer sport, and the ultimate goal is obviously to completely eradicate fatalities throughout the sport. A quite bizarre Lewis Hamilton fact now. Stay tuned. It may possibly surprise you to know that Lewis Hamilton, as well as being the most successful driver ever to grace the sport of F1, has also appeared in a Christina Aguilera music video. What? We hear you cry? It's true. Look it up. Hamilton is a keen musician and regularly uploads little clips to Instagram of him playing around on his piano or guitar, but it was his MC skills which caught the eye or ear of the genie in a bottle singer. Back in 2018, Hamilton appeared on a track called Pipe off of Aguilera's Liberation album. However, you would be forgiven for not realizing it, as he appeared under the pseudonym XDNA. He revealed that it only took him 2 hours to write and record the short verse. Nice brag. Saying soon after, "I had this incredibly beautiful and talented person reach out to me a while back asking for me to be on her album. I was so blown away and I jumped at the opportunity. I had 2 hours to write the short verse and record. The goal was to have the music come out under a different name so that you could hear the music first and later know it was me, but it didn't work out the way I planned. We wonder if he has plans to spit any more rhymes in the future. Did you know about this one?" And finally, a rule named after Max Verstappen. Verstappen is the current Formula 1 world champion and is one of the youngest ever champions, just being pipped to that title by Sebastian Vettel. But there is one F1 rule that will always be named after Verstappen. As a 17-year-old, he didn't even have a driving license when he began racing in F1, saying, "My driving instructor was very strict, which was good. I was prepared. I had caps and t-shirts ready in case someone needed to be bribed," but he didn't take it. However, it was at this point that F1 realized Max was incredibly young and actually brought in a rule, the Verstappen rule, which says the drivers must be at least 18 years old if they wish to compete in Formula 1. Did you guys know about this one? Pretty crazy, right? Which fact do you guys think is the craziest from our list today? Let us know below. As usual, thanks for dropping in today, and remember to swing by again next time when we will be discussing all sorts of cool bits and pieces. And why not do us a solid by liking and sharing today's video, while also subscribing to our channel so you don't miss out on more great content in the future. Bye guys.